Hey everybody, welcome to Painting for Pleasure. I'm your host Tony Fisco, and I thought what we'd do today is do some fun chickens. Now I say fun chickens because it gives us, learning how to put animals in a painting gives us the ability to add a little bit of more interest. I mean, if you're doing, for instance, a barn, or you're doing a home, or you're doing something, it's always good to have little components around the yard that help to carry the painting and make it a little bit more fluid. That's one of the reasons why we like to put people in paintings, animals in paintings, maybe a mailbox now and then, or an old barrel, or a old reel, a cable reel, or something like that. Something, old tractors, those kinds of things. They help to carry a painting and make it a little bit more interesting. So what I thought I would do is I got a little bit of a linear light lined work going on over here. But essentially what I did, let me just put this in front of you, as I was sketching, just sort of sketching some basic shapes. Now these are characteristic shapes that are indicative of chickens, roosters, those kinds of things. And they're going to have a certain characteristic shape to them, so it doesn't make any difference as long as the characteristic shape suggests the type of animal that you're painting. That's all we're looking for. We're not looking for detailed work in a particular type of chicken, rooster, or whatever, because the stuff I'm using, photographs that I took when I was working with a model up in Norwell, and she had chickens all over her yard. And some of them, I don't know what they called, because I'm not into that, but some of them were black, some of them were brown, some of them were gray, spotted. They were running all over but they all had a basic characteristic shape to them. And that's this kind of thing for, let's say, a rooster, this thing that I've got right here. But you can see it, a chicken bending over, for instance, pecking at the ground, a little rooster over here that's standing, and I just threw in some color pencil, watercolor pencil, to give it a little bit of a red look around the head and a dark look over here. Again, bending over, pecking the ground. The tail's going to be varied. But as long as it has the characteristic shape of the bird that you're looking for, that should suffice. So I don't want you to get into a detailed situation. I don't care about that. This is actually probably should come down a little bit more like that. But nonetheless, let me go through the process of drawing it out. Now, along with the chickens, I'm going to sketch it out here and then we'll paint it. But along with the chickens, what I'm going to do is do a little bit of something in regard to a shed in the background, a chicken coop or little shed in the background. I got a bunch of here. These photographs are what I'm talking about right here. All right. So there's a pony back here, and there's all kinds of chickens in the yard, or roosters in the yard, or whatever. Don't know the. But again, let's actually take a look at what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a shed. Got a shed in the background, and that shed is well here. I blew them up a little bit more so I could see them. All right, so we'll ultimately paint this, but shed's in the background, and so what we're going to do is we got a bit of a stone wall that's sitting over here. Okay, and we're going to end up with some foliage, leafy structure in this area. We're going to draw this out, and I'm not sure I'll make one video or more than one video on this, maybe, but well, let's just draw this out because we've got sort of foliage on the ground here. We've got some foliage back here, maybe trees. Put maybe a tree back here, maybe one over here, and make this all dark. We'll darken all of this stuff over here in the background so that pops out just all right. And we've got some sort of dark stuff. I'm going to draw it first, and then we'll paint it. All right. Now I have a shed, or I don't have a shed, but the photograph that I took in the yard. There's a chicken coop that's right here, so we're going to put one in. And generally, these things tends to be old and dilapidated in a lot of cases. A little shadow under the door here. All right, these are wood slats, siding, wood siding coming in here. Here, we'll make some of that, okay? And the edge of this door right here, a little bit darker. And we got, again, something that's coming down here. I'm just going to come over here. All I'm doing is just putting my, following my design or my photograph to some extent. Now we've got, you'll notice that what happens when I do this is that I end up doing my siding with darks and little dark lines that are suggestive of actually seeing through it. Maybe the boards are broken, something like that. Now we got to, in this particular case, I'm going to do it because there's one that's here in the photograph, but we have a board that is off the back and just leaning up against the back here. So we're moving that out. Notice that I did this at an angle, and I'm going to come across this way here, and we'll give this board the appearance of that. Now, these chicken coops have ramps, sort of, all right, that are going up into the area where the doors are. And so these are the ramps. They're slanting down. All right, little wedged area. It's going to be dark under here. And maybe there's a little stone on the corner. I don't know, something holding up that area. So I'm just going back and just lightening and darkening these certain areas to help give me an ability to carry my eye to where I want it to go. Now I'm not going to put a lot of emphasis on this stuff back here. I hope. I might end up doing it, but that's not the intent. But essentially what we're really doing is just, we don't want the chickens in the yard, in the area, not to have we need other things other than just chickens, all right? So you can see what I'm doing is just sort of darkening this up here and there. And behind, this is the shadow, light's coming from sort of this side here, so behind here would be darker. This is all going to be in shadow to help that board pop out, okay? So that'll all be in shadow right there. And then we have an opening. This door would close this way. So this is an opening over here. And to help that along, there's a rail. Oh, it's probably the chickens hop up. They probably roost in this area. All right. So this will all be probably dark back here and maybe dark back there, and as if we're looking inside. And door shadow. Right, something like this. It's going to be a little bit of shadow underneath. Normally I wouldn't be doing it this dark. This is for you, not for me. Normally I would just put in some light light lines, but I want to show you that we can sort of put in where we can get a form. We can get our form worked out with all of the shadow in place by doing something like this. You know, there's probably something there. And this is just, all right, so that's good. And then our chicken coop could be here. Maybe actually, you know what? Maybe the chicken coop is going back. Let's see, front. Maybe it's going back a little bit. Anyway, we'll just fudge this section right here. Going back in perspective. Okay. Put a couple of rocks in here, and we've got vegetation on the ground. Okay, so let me work from my left to my right over here. We got ground covering, vegetation, dirt, green area. This is all dirt in this area right here. All of this stuff is going to be dirt. And what I'm going to do, I don't like it here though. I don't like that. I may not do that there. I had a wall over here, but I might bring it down. Yeah, I'm going to bring it down. So we'll okay, so let's start to rough in some of these birds, some of these chickens. We got one here. Okay. And it's sort of like a chicken that's pecking the ground. Is you know, its neck is coming down a little bit more. Legs. Again, you know what we're looking for? We just need to be convinced. That's all. It's just, all we're doing is we're just convincing somebody out there that what we're looking at is a chicken. That's all. I mean, I'm not trying to do anything more than that. So we got one. Let me put this guy up over here. Okay. His beak. And we're going to give him a again. You know. All right, something like that. Got one over here. Just putting the shapes in. This is just basic shapes. All right. Up there, so we got to. He's doing this one over here. This guy's coming this way. I don't know. Could be one back here too. One there and one here. One behind this one. All right, because sometimes they cluster. Okay. Ducks are the same way, guys. You know, ducks, geese, they all have certain characteristic shapes. Let's just put a little tiny guy over here. Forward leg coming this way. And we'll make a little head there. And we'll put one here. So I'm working off of these images here. Let's put one. Let's take a look at this here. A little bit here. I got a feather here. It looks like it's a big, it must be a rooster. I guess, I'm not sure. Darker area. Alright. Legs are going to come down. And they got sort of like a web duck. Remember, the feet are like web duck feet. So, actually, you know what? I'm going to change it. Let me just do something here. Give me an eraser. I am going to change this up a little bit right here. Well, maybe I won't. One leg's got to be behind the other, so we'll just, rather than try to erase it, we'll just work it out this way. One leg's ahead of the other. All right, so again, all we're dealing with is characteristic shapes. Okay. Characteristic shape. Let's get this out here a little bit more. My leg's got to be too close. And this leg's got to be farther in here. Okay. And we got a sort of big gobbler. Okay, so face. Okay, so we've got some chickens in the yard. I'll put one more over here. Let's just do this big one right here. This baby that's over here, we'll just put this one in. And it's very interesting because there's some of these are going to look better than others. When we get the paint in there, they're going to look fine. You know, to do these linearly makes it just, sometimes it's tough. But I can tell you, I've seen this a number of times because we probably won't even follow the lines when we put this in, when I paint this in. But nonetheless, it's these little beaks. And it's just indicative of what these guys go through and look like, right? So I got a bunch of my chickens running around over here, and we'll put the wall. Let me just put a stone wall down here. Well, I'm going to move my stone wall down. I had it up too close to the center, and I want to get this. We'll bring a stone wall down this way here. There's no stone wall. Well, maybe there is, but I want this to be part of the ambiance of the piece here. Bring it in, and this is all going to be grass in this area here. So we'll just do that. All right, so that's roughly where we're going to be at. Just sketch that really in, and then we're going to fill the rest in with paint, and we should be okay. So I'll be back with you. Let me just set this up on the board. We'll just put a piece of black tape across the top. That should give us the area that we're looking for. Here's my sketch again of the rough idea. I'm just going to put this stuff up here, and I will take my brushes. Let me get them up. So we're going to use a couple of brushes. We're not going to paint. We're going to paint this with probably I'm going to paint it down. So what I'll probably do is use a little bit of my 1-inch brush, my large round brush here. This is probably, what is this thing? I don't know. It's a huge brush, 16, 18, 22, something like that. We're going to be needing my rigger at some point, and let's get a couple of other brushes, 1/4-inch rounds. And again, I'm using my Dynasty brushes to paint this. A combination of my water lily brushes, which are made for, it's a specific series that Dynasty made. My Black Gold series, and I have a Foklonsky series as well, which is great. These are great brushes, by the way, really are. Nice to work with. Okay, so let's just start this now. I'll get some water and we'll get going. Okay, we're going to start with a background. I'm going to start actually with the shed area up here, because this is all going to be cool and dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cool color, a little bit of cobalt blue here. For my first pass. Now, this is dry. That's what I'm doing, is I'm mixing that nice blue right now. That's just going to give me my background tone, okay? And that's all going to go into these areas right here. All right, so I'm going to just come in here and we're going to cool this all down. Now, make this nice and cool. It's on the brownish side. So as we come across, I'm going to add a little bit of my burnt sienna to this as I come across. Maybe a little bit more burnt sienna, because we're going to go from blue to blue-gray, and it's what's happening up here. This is all going to get dark in this area here anyway. All right, so we've got this sort of base going on over here, and what I find interesting is that we're going to do the same thing. And I'll take a small brush here with this area here, because these are going to be, okay, I'm just going to come in and outline essentially my dark area. Okay, right in here, we're just outlining some of that dark, and some more of those. We're going to make some of this even darker under here. All right. And we're going to just, again, it's cool, it's dark, a little darker under here. We'll make some of this even darker as we go forward. But I just want to differentiate right now some of the areas that are here that are dark, and yet, let's take my cobalt blue. This is all going to be in shadow. Ultimately, we are obviously talking about a shed or a chicken coop that's got it's all wood structure, so it's going to be somewhat more brownish in its appearance. But what I'm really trying to do here is to look at some lights and darks. So I got my little brush, and I'm just coming across over here. Some of this stuff is going to be in shadow. So again, that's the cool side of what we're really trying to do. All right, we'll just bring this in, and we're going to make some of this even combination of my yellow ochre now I'm putting in here. So we're doing this background. A little bit of yellow ochre as I come forward. But all of this stuff in the background will ultimately be cool and in shadow, including what I'm leaving white. But I need to leave it white for a bit until it darkens up a bit, until we get this most of my structure done here. This is all going to be dark in the background here. All right, so we're going to make that darker. All right, so adding a little bit of this sort of warm area, this my burnt sienna mixture over here will help to create a little more of that what I want. I'm just taking that out because I wanted that gray, not that way. All right, so anyway, let's go back and let me work myself around my chicken. And as we're gonna come over here, and we're just adding a little bit more water, keeping my colors neutral back here. We're just gonna add some more water, keep it nice and light. All right. I do want movement. So I do want to go from light to dark. As I come down forward, as I'm going to come down into this area right here, I want to get lighter. And I want to get warmer too. So I'm going to use a combination here. I'm going to come in here with yellow ochre, very wet, watery yellow ochre, and lighten some of this up. Okay. And even as I come down, so what I'm doing is I'm just coming over here. Now all of this stuff over here is going to be green. I want this all a little bit greener because we have vegetation. So what I'm doing is I'm adding cerulean blue to this to bring cerulean blue in here. It's going to be greener. And I'm going to add a little bit of new gamboge to my cerulean blue. Again, we're in a situation where we're doing a variety of different wet into wet techniques here to because some of this stuff is vegetation. What do you call it? It's all foliage in the ground, ground covering for the chickens to eat. Some of it is going to be just yellow ochre, the dirt. But as long as it's wet, I can do this. Okay? As long as it's wet, I can do this. And I'm going around the chickens for a reason. I probably don't need to go around the darker, the areas that I'm going to do with the chickens that are going to be darker, red, I would just put something over there. But I do want to go keep this nice and light over here. And it's very important that we make sure that we're keeping this wet. And yellow oak is a good ground cover. And some of these guys I'm going right through the chickens. So we're dealing with yellow ochre, cerulean blue combined with my cobalt blue for this, my cerulean blue, cobalt blue combination, along with my new gamboge. And we're going to put some spots of ground cover here and there. Make that nice and soft. And again, coming down. And much more. So what I'm looking for is ground patch. Ground patch. Some dirt. Okay. And we're just going to this is my background color now. My ground color. Look at just down in this area. Make some of that even darker. Going right over my wall, because I'll take care of my wall later. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm giving myself cool back here, right? Cool area back there, warm area down here. Cool, the greens are going to be cool. I'm going to actually dump some greens right in this right now, because we have some foliage, grass structure, weeds, leaves that are going to come up over here. This is all going to be grass. So again, cobalt blue, mixture with my new gamboge. A little bit bluer. All right. We gotta, because these are going to be, it's going to be spotted. So we're going to look at ground through the ground covering. So some of it's going to be maybe bluer. We have Okay. I haven't touched the chickens yet, obviously. I got some of this ground cover in, and I'm going to go to a smaller brush. Well, what I'm going to do before I even do that is I'm going to take some of, I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to get some water. And dump some, just spatter some water in here. I'm going to let this go a little bit more, but just okay. So that's pretty warm. A little bit on the coolish side with the yellow down here, but with the green down there. But what I want to do is I'm going to create, hopefully we'll create, so we'll be able to lift some of this. Little patches of light area. Okay. Little patches of light area. Water to lighten some of this up. Couple of light spots. Okay, we're getting there. It's a slow process. I'm adding some water in here. You'll see. Now this should be dry enough so that when I add water, it'll cause some blossoms, controlled blossoms. Just adding water into this area so that all right. So I should have some controlled blossoms. That'll be grass-like, weed-like. You can do this. You can't do this when it's totally dry, but you can do it if it's damp. All right. Weed. All right, just little weeds, light areas. Now I'm going to put some darker stuff in here as well, but I want some light. All I want some light. I don't want it all dark. And I don't want it all light. But we need to get some lights and some darks so that it looks like it's a grassy feel. And this area back here, I'm gonna just do it more horizontally. This is vertical down here because it's closer. This stuff back here, we're just gonna do a few horizontal strokes. Okay. I want this nice and light in here if I can do this. Let me see if I can pull this out. All right, so I'm using tissue, paper towel to do that. My soft paper towels. Okay, now I don't know, let's see if it, see if I can put a little squish in there, I'm going to take I'm taking some, just a little bit of, this is watery now. Here's my palette, you can see. Just a lot of water, just color water in here. Just coming in here and dropping some soft, watery, vertical, not horizontal, but vertical strokes, just to indicate the possibility of plant life on the ground covering, you know. We'll get a little bit darker. We're going to come over here and do little patches of this stuff here and there. Still, the sort of watery applications, but colored water. Just colored water. Okay. Well, let's go back over to this area back here because I want to make this dark. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my cobalt blue, mixing it with my burnt sienna. And I said I was going to put a couple of trees in here, didn't I? Yep. Do one there, one there, one there. Okay. We'll make it darker. We will make it darker, absolutely. Okay, we're gonna do some. Let's get some darker streaks in here. board's coming down here. Now again, I'm using a combination of cobalt blue, burnt sienna. It's a cool color. We're just giving this a little bit of a little darker feel. Okay, this is going to be dark in here. It's going to be real dark in here, but we'll just put, right now, for now, we're just going to do this, do that, and how about we'll make that door there. We'll do something like that, and all this stuff in the back here, this is going to be sort of really, it's going to get even darker. So let's get more cobalt blue. Okay. So we're going to make this even darker back here. Okay, so we got that kind of cool stuff going on over here. And we'll make this okay. A little bit of cobalt blue. We're just going to do a little bit of burnt sienna. Okay. I think we have to get this a little bit darker in here too. Okay, so we got something going on back there. So now we can go back and do a little bit more grass work. Dry enough. Let's get some of this stuff in here. And these are little, what I'm doing is I'm coming in here with, again, cobalt blue, my new gamboge. We're dropping we want to make sure that we have some stuff that sort of looks like what I guess ground covering would be for the chickens to eat, plants, I don't know. I'm just following whatever's there on the we'll just put some stuff in. Stuff. All right. So, we're getting there. I want to get a little bit more definition in the stuff back here. And we're going to end up, let's just do something that's, we got some real darks here. Oh, we'll put those in later. Let's see. I've got a, as I said, I've got a stone, we've got stone wall here of some sort, so we're just doing, I'm working in between where the stones meet, shadow-wise, to probably an old fallen down wall. Okay. So gonna let that dry a bit up there. Okay, how about we get some of the birds in? Get a feeling for some of these birds. Maybe some of them are nice and bright, and so with some base color in. All right. I'm going to take a little guy like this, add a little brown to it. What I did is I just used my bright yellow, not my bright yellow, but my yellow, burnt yellow ochre, along with my cadmium yellow in here, and so we're just basically going to end up giving that sort of one of these. That's that bird there. It's going to get a little darker over here. We're just going to put another little bird in here. Let's use a little just straight yellow ochre. I don't want too much attention to that one. Okay. Whoops, and we'll put one in here. Make this guy here. I'll tell you what. We'll put one over here too. We'll do a little chicken right there. We'll get a little guy in there. Just trying to design this as I go forward. All right, so we got we gotta look at this is my cobalt blue, which I'm working with right now. He's gonna get a lot darker. All right. Do the same thing. Maybe we'll just use a little bit stronger blue here for this magical person here. Okay. So this guy's got a little dark neck, and we're just going to make one of those deals. Again, what we're doing is this is characteristic shapes. These are characteristic shapes of the birds. We're not really interested in trying to depict these in any way other than to give you characteristic shapes. Maybe this guy's got a little something going on over there. Maybe we need a little bit of, let's see, some of these guys are redder. Yeah. Okay. The idea is the idea here behind this is we've got a bunch of chickens, and we want to make them as interesting as possible. Okay, and we're going to vary the chickens in terms of add maybe a little bit of, got a red rooster here. Okay. Alrighty. What I'm doing is just Just coming in here and putting some of this stuff down, all right? Maybe we'll just do, maybe we'll do let's get this guy in here. All right, so we'll just yeah. Multicolors. Just want to create the illusion. That's all I care about. Just the illusion of this. Yep. All right. Okay, and we got sort of this guy down here. Coming in here. All right. Just fresh movement. Okay. Okay, so I got my chickens in right where I want them. Now we're just gonna have to let them dry a little bit. While we're letting those dry, so I can model them a little bit more. We're just gonna go back over here and start to scratch in some more definition in this area here. So let's look at now we're probably gonna have to let this dry a bit. I'm using a little bit too much water right now. Okay, a little bit darker here and here. Bring that out a little bit more. I'm not going to do that with that one. I'm going to use a bigger brush for that. I'm going to get this really dark back here. And I want to get a little bit more greenish. Okay. Get a little bit of purple. What I'm doing is, right now I just want to put in a little bit of something in there, like a little wall. And if I'm going to do a tree, the shadow side of that. All right. How about let's get some yellow, green, a little bit of cerulean blue, new gamboge, that nice bright green going here in this white area. All right. Some lights. Yep. Stuff going off in the background over there and here. And let's just continue to go, continue to work. I need some real darks in here. I want some real dark, even darker than that. Darker, still darker. Absolutely darker. Okay. And we'll do something there. Gotta do it with a smaller brush though. Let's get a little bit of texture in some of this stuff. Okay, and then we'll just darken up those lines back there. All right. So we're pretty much almost finished. Finish up the birds at some point. just all right, so we're gonna let the chickens, I'm gonna leave this alone, let those dry out. Well, just gotta get back now over here to get some. Some more greens. My wall. Okay. Okay, we have stones that are all over the place. Yeah, big one right here. All right. All right, so Okey doke. Close enough. Getting there. What do we want to do? So, let's do this. Let's cover, those are light areas, right, back there, so let's just cover them a little bit. I'm going to kill the white. Okay, so now all I have to do is to let it dry thoroughly and put in a couple of little accents, little details, and we should be good to go. I'll be back with you in this shortly. Okay, there's just a couple of more things. I just took a look at it, let it dry out. Just a couple of things that I want to sort of beef up a bit. Has a lot to do with just the area back here. So we're gonna take a look at that. Just add some deeper green in this area too. And what I'm doing now is I just got some of my original photographs here. I mean, my original. I'm sort of taking a look at the shed back there, but what I really want to do is just darken up some of that shed area. So let's go back in this area here. We're going to just create a few darker areas. My trees. Top of the stone wall. To darken this up here. Make that a little darker there so it's back. And it's the top of that wall. Just small things. As an example, let's make this a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, by dry brushing it. Don't want to call too much attention back here, but I do want it to be darker. And I want this area under here, I want this board to be darker there, and I want this to be darker there. Again, I don't want too much attention back here. I don't particularly care whether or not I think that's just enough. It's just these dark areas need to be beefed up a bit. Just, all I'm really doing is just beefing up a couple of things. All right, enough of that. Pretty much going to leave everything else alone. Yep. It's all about the chickens, so we'll leave it alone. Not about the grass. Okay, that shall do it. Soften this up a bit here. Okay. No, done. All I'm gonna do is just blow it if I keep going. So that's it. That's my little chickens in the yard. We'll call them Cindy's chickens. I don't know why we're gonna call them Cindy's chickens. Probably that's where we shot the piece. But thank you for being with me. I'm your host, Tony Visco. Until the next time, have a great time painting for pleasure. Take care. Bye-bye.